Yep. All right, folks, it is Thursday night, April the 21st. And, folks, believe it or not, it's Thursday night, and it's 7 o'clock Central Standard Time here in Pensacola, Florida. And we want you guys to get on the phone, call in, tell your friends, email them, Skype them, do whatever you got to do, yell at them, tell them, hey, it's time to talk whitetail, hunting the rut. You got questions, we got answers. And tonight, folks, it is April the 21st. Can you believe it? I mean, just in couple of months here, you're going to be looking at, let's see, April, May, June, July. You get over into July, boy, everybody's going to be itching to get on them tractors and start getting ready to put food plots in. It's crazy how quick a year goes by. Folks, deer are well underway. Bucks are well underway in the development across the country. You know, finally the Northwest, excuse me, not the Northwest, but the Midwest and the Northeast. You know, the Midwest, I mean, the West is kind of like in their own little world. But, you know, I don't know if you know that, but the majority, probably 90% of the whitetail hunters are east of the Mississippi. If you were to take America, you know, and take the Mississippi River, 85-90% of the population is east of the Mississippi. It's an amazing, of course, you got a million of them suckers sitting out there in Texas alone. But the rule of thumb is it's late April, and bucks are well on the way of getting reconditioned back. They're coming back. They got plenty of browse. Of course, the Southeast, we down here, we've been doing it for several months now, but you're beginning to catch up with us. Bucks are growing those antlers around the country. You know, we did a segment last year. They grow almost an inch or up to an inch a day. If they've got the proper food source and a good food source and are healthy, these bucks will be growing an inch of antler a day. And so if you missed that big boy last year and you had him on at the end of the season on your camera, or you saw him on your camera after season last year, that bad boy is still living unless a vehicle got him or a predator got him. That means he's still going to be hanging around on your property. So look, we're going to get started here in just a second. Stay tuned, get on the phone, call your friends. We'll be right back.
You don't like old milk. Deer don't like old urine. Brown and cloudy urine reeks of ammonia. Ammoniated urine means it's old, not fresh, and it doesn't fool deer. Top Secret Deer Scents, the only scent on the market that's oxygen-free from collection to bottle. It's yellow and clear because it's fresh. It's the only scent on the market that says a deer is here now and not last week.
All right, folks, we're going to add a little excitement to the show tonight, and here's what we're going to do. And listen, I told you last year, how long we've been doing this now? 2 years, almost 2 years. For 2 years, that's hard to believe in it. But I've been telling you this for 2 years on air here, but I've been saying it for years. Telling you the analogy why Top Secret has totally changed the scent industry. Of course, Top Secret is oxygen-free from collection to the bottle. That everybody knows, or if you don't know, let me remind you, that all urine voided is sterile. It should be a clear yellow. If you check your urine and if you collect it and it's not a clear yellow, you may want to have it checked, or have you checked, or check your diet. But it should, all urine voided is a clear yellow. Deer, animal, cat, it doesn't matter, human, clear yellow. Now, once it hits oxygen, it starts breaking down. Oxygen ammoniates urine, it turns it brown. Dark urine means that it is old urine. Dark urine means a deer was there. Clear yellow urine, like Top Secret's oxygen-free urine, see the color? Means it's never seen oxygen. So watch this. You open it, you pour it out, first time it hits oxygen, you got a deer standing there. Now then, having said that is why Top Secret is just absolutely taking the scent industry by storm. I mean, common sense, you got to climb over this building, over your common sense, not to realize single urine, oxygen-free, changes the game in all kind of formats. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to run a little contest. We're going to call it the little urine contest. Put a lot of thought into this. Isn't that right, guys? That's right, put a lot of thought into this. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to say the first 5 of you. Now don't fudge on this. Now dead blame it, do it right. All you geeks out there, which would take me out of the equation. But if you guys out there urinate in a glass, give us the day, Don't film doing it. Just having done it, here's today. And then we want you to be able to, what's the right way to call it, Tom? Time lapse it. If you can time lapse it, they can do it on their phone, can't they? Maybe. Anyway, we want you to time lapse it or go back every hour, 2 hours, and photograph it. We want you to show us the gradation of what I'm talking about. Now, the first 5 that does that, you're going to each get a 3-ounce bottle of Top Secret estrus. Okay? So what you're doing is you're swapping your urine, a picture of it, for this. Now, only in America can you have a show doing what I just offered you to do. Now, you think that's a gimmick, but you know, those say in practice makes perfect. Here is a perfect understanding of what we're telling you. And if everybody's listening, even if you do not send it in, if you do it, you can never, ever go back the other way. Because you realize, hey, that's your own urine and it's going to change. The only variable to your urine is oxygen. Now, the amount of time that it changes is going to determine on how cold it is, whether it's outside or inside. But it's going to change. So the time lapse on yours may be different, and kind of tell us the temperature too. So give us the date, the time, and then time lapse it for a day, maybe to the next day at the same time. That's the way to do it. Do it in a 24-hour cycle, and tell us the temperature range from that period. It will shock you, and it certainly will educate you, and it will give a lot of feedback to all the people watching the show. It is an amazing thing to understand. Once you understand that, you're going to be a much better whitetail hunter. Guys, look, one of the things that North America was founded on was trapping. It is still a huge industry today, not anywhere near what it was even when I was growing up. My father was a big trapper. I trap. My son is a big trapper. And with trapping, you have to understand scent, attract it. But more than that, you've got to you can have all the attractants in the world if you're trying to trap a coyote, but you also got to know how a coyote travels a pasture, where he travels, and so to where to put it, to put the trap. So it's all about scent and attraction and understanding the animal. So folks, a big thing, try it, send it in to us, start doing it. Let's try to have it ready for next week. And I think we already got us a caller on. We may have somebody thinking I've lost my mind here, more so than normal. All right, you got Don Bell. Who we got? Yes, sir. Still with me? All right, I think we lost him right there. Maybe they'll try to call back with us. Let's see, guys, while we're doing that, you want me to take a quick Facebook right there? I'll do that. Get him back on the line. All right, let me take a quick Facebook and we'll see what we can do. Hunter Strong from Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson, we got a big distributor over there, does a big distributor show over every year. In fact, Hunter, we're going to be over there in June at the Coliseum over there doing Ferris Brothers show over there. Hunter wants to know, does Top Secret Deer Scent work before the rut starts and after it ends? Top Secret Deer Scent, Hunter, works literally, and I'm not exaggerating on this, it works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 300, how many weeks, how many days in a year? 365 days a year. And here's why. Deer, Hunter, right now tonight, as we're sitting here, and I'm answering this question on, Hunter, on your piece of property, on everybody's piece of property that's listening to me tonight, deer are urinating. They do it 365 days a year. They don't wait till fall to urinate. They do it 365 days a year, 24 hour. It's a way of communication. And so yes, it works. And I know what you're asking, and we'll come back to that in just a second. I believe we got a caller on the phone. Yeah, we're going to try that bad boy one more time. I told you he was mad. He already hung up on me. All right, you got Don Bell. Who we got? All right, I think. Can you hear me? All righty, we're going to try that bad boy again. See, maybe I got him all riled up there. All right, gone. Okay, so let's go back to Hunter real quick. What Hunter is actually saying, now I wasn't being cute, Hunter, when I answered that Top Secret works 24/7, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, 365 days a year. It's because deer communicate with urine. But what really Hunter's asking is, does Top Secret work before the rut starts and after it ends? Buck urine, bucks spend more time with bucks, 99% of the year, 95 to 99% of the year. A whitetail buck, will spend most of his time with other bucks. Right now, today, April the 21st, anywhere in North America, Canada, even Mexico, where there's whitetail, bucks are in bachelor groups. You see it already where you are. I can see you nodding your head out there because if you see deer, you're seeing them in bachelor groups. So the peak of the rut ended. The rut in North America ended here in the U.S. In this case, in Mississippi, the rut ended. Bucks started getting back into bachelor groups. So the pecking order of that whitetail starts now. It doesn't start in what we understand is, what most people understand is the rut, which is the pre-peak and post-rut in the fall, once a buck comes out of velvet. The pecking order starts now. So even if you use buck urine today, Hunter, that buck's going to come to it. And he's not coming mad April the 21st. He's just coming to see who the new kid on the block is. Well, Hunter, you don't care. You just want to shoot him. So the answer to that is, starts good and it gets better as season progresses. I hope that kind of makes sense to you, but you certainly want to, of course, not that you want to be using deer urine outside of hunting season. Well, of course, we would love for you to do that at Top Secret just to show you it works. But it's not something that you want to do, really. You want to use it during the peak of the pre-peak and post-rut. Once season comes in, buck urine every day of the year, and then use esters once the once he starts chasing the does. Okay? Let's see. Guys, we got a chance for it. Oh, we got the phone. All right. All righty, got Don Bell. Who we got? Big guys, I think we may have a hold button in here on something. You may want to come check it out. Guys, we're live. Can you tell that? That's what makes this show just so interesting. All right. I think it looks, guys, when it comes on, we got a hold button on out here. I don't know. Probably mashed the button I shouldn't have. But it's not hold on now. It's only when it comes in. All right, we'll try to figure that out in a commercial. In fact, we'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll get the IT geniuses out here and show Don don't push which button.
Rise and shine. It's time to hunt.
Repel and kill the bugs that bug you most with the all-natural 100% deep-free BioShield.
You've waited your whole life for this moment. Don't spoil your opportunity because of poor preparation. Keep your optics clean and fog-free for a clear shot every time. Fog Zero.
Introducing Scent Defense, a revolutionary 3-in-1 formula from Top Secret. Infused with antimicrobial silver copper synergy technology to attack odor before it starts. Fortified with NeuroX to attack and repel insects instantly. Scent Defense is specifically formulated to attract deer while simultaneously destroying odor. Scent Defense, the 3-in-1 formula for success.
Do you know what I want to tell you about live TV? It's live. So Don sells deer urine, and there's a bunch of buttons on this sucker, and I'm not only supposed to mash but one, and I'm mashing that one. And when I watch this finger right here, we go right here. Alrighty, we got Don Bell. Who we talking to? We're talking to the IT people back there. They're shaking their heads. All right, let's go to Facebook and see if we can catch up on these bad boys right there while they work it out. Bobby Curtis from Notre Dame, Michigan. Bobby wants to know, how can you tell when the rut is starting and how long does it normally last? Now, Bobby, with everybody listening across the country, everybody heard that from their perspective. They heard that question is, how can you tell when the rut is starting and how long does it normally last? All right, that's a relevant and original question, meaning that the way it starts is the same, the way you can tell. Probably Bobby's asking me, most people are going to start that answer by saying when a buck's chasing a doe. But that is not the rut. That is the peak of the rut. And Bobby, it's very important. And guys, listen, think of the name of the show, Hunting the Rut Hotline. So in order to hunt the rut, it's terribly important for us to understand when is the rut. Right? So it's terribly important to know, if you're going to pick somebody up at the airport, it's terribly important to understand what time their flight lands in order what time to go pick them up. Same thing with the peak of the rut. So the rut, anywhere, a whitetail buck, anywhere in North America, doesn't matter what state you live in, what region you live in, north, south, midwest, once a buck comes out of velvet, biologically that buck is in rut and he can breed. Now think about that just a second, Bobby. Everybody that's listening, think about where you live and answer the question. When archery season opens, are the majority of the bucks in your state out of velvet? Chances are, high percentage, the answer is yes. And the reason, have you ever thought about why they open season when they do in your state? Once a whitetail buck starts coming out of velvet, those antlers are hardened and he starts getting rid of that velvet. Once he sheds velvet, biologically that buck is in rut and he can breed. So that means, Bobby, in Michigan, and in your case up there, season's going to come in probably late September. The bucks are already coming out of velvet. Many of them are out of velvet. So that buck or those bucks are in rut. Now that just really sounds so strange to you. I know it does, because you're thinking rut. Most people, when a buck, they're thinking rut, they're thinking doe and estrus. But that's two different things. I said he is in rut. He can biologically breed. I didn't say pre-rut, opening day of archery season, she's an estrus, because she's not. But biologically, he can breed. Now what happens is, if he can breed when season opens because he's out of velvet, that begs a question. Well, dang, how long can he breed? Well, did you know that once a buck sheds velvet, and biologically he is in rut, so he can breed, then he can breed all the way to the time he drops his antlers or his horns. Now then, answer the question. What's the last legal day you can hunt in your state? In Michigan. Do they still have antlers? Chances are yes. So when is the rut in your state? If he's out of velvet when season opens and he still has antlers when season ends, that means he's in rut the entire what? Hunting season. Boy, that will change the way you hunt. And folks, that's the case almost in every state in America, with the exception of the state of South Carolina. Folks, look, if you want to go hunt a chance to kill a buck in velvet, it is not hard. All you got to do is go to the southern zone of the state of South Carolina. Season opens August the 15th. They're in velvet. Sure as world, you go August 15th, South Carolina, them bad boys are in velvet, and you can kill you a buck in velvet. Or at least you get a chance to kill one, because they're going to be in velvet. Everywhere else in season when it opens, the majority of those bucks are already coming out of velvet. So they're in rut, and they are in rut for the entire season until they drop their antlers. Now when season opens in archery season, and they start shedding that velvet, they're not just on high octane, they're able to rut. Sort of like having a car, but you're not old enough to have the license to drive the car. They're capable of breeding, but their mindset is gradually going to increase toward that. So what happens is once they come out of velvet, they realize stuff's happening, and that's the reason why you start having rub lines and secondary scrapes during pre-rut. So, Bobby, that seems like a long answer to a simple question, but once you understand, and it happens the same in any state. Folks, listen. You got to get off of the concept that a whitetail is unique in Michigan from Alabama or Mississippi or Minnesota or Delaware. By the way, you want to kill some good bucks, you need to go to Delaware and hunt them cornfields where you can see the Atlantic. It's crazy. Big bucks coming out of Delaware, and a real sleeper. But anyway, having said that, your buck's the same as any other buck. Ears, eyes, nose. 3 defenses: ears, eyes, nose. Ears, eyes, nose, anywhere in the country. The only difference between a whitetail in Minnesota and a whitetail in South Alabama is topography. How you set up on that deer to hunt him, and pressure. 2 different worlds. So let's see. I believe, guys, we're going to try it again. Well, let's see if we get us a call through. All right, let's see if we got us a caller. All righty, you got Don Bell. Who we got? I don't think it's going to work tonight. We having a little technical difficulty. All right, I guess it's something that we did. You want me to do what? All right, we'll just keep going, and they'll keep trying here. Guys, listen, we do apologize. Something's happening tonight, but it doesn't matter. Keep trying to come through, and we'll keep punching you in. So let's take another Facebook question. Philip Everett from Gun Barrel City, Texas. You can't make that up, can you? How would you like to live in Gun Barrel City, Texas? Hey, and that's in the Piney Woods, too. So that's in the northeast corner of Texas. Got to be south of 10. But anyway, Philip wants to know, what scent should I be using in the Piney Woods in East Texas? Philip, that depends on what time of year you're hunting in the Piney Woods of Texas. Your safest guess, guys, and it really goes against public opinion. Most people, of course, if you watch this show and if you've ever been to one of my seminars, you understand that if you put a gun to my head, I'm going to take buck urine over estrus. If I had to choose one scent to hunt anywhere in North America and be able to kill a deer, especially a buck, I'm going to use buck urine. Now, once it gets into the peak of the rut, man, you can't hardly beat estrus, but the buck urine is only going to get better. Because when you use buck urine, Philip there in the northeast part of Texas there, and then the other gentleman who was up in Michigan uses it, bucks are going to react to it the same first day of bow season. They're still in bachelor groups. But the longer it gets, the more aggressive it is, and toward the peak of the rut, it's like coming home smelling Old Spice cologne. Dude, he's mad. So buck urine would be the one that I would use if I had to use one, but you haven't got to. Use buck urine every day of the year, Philip, in East Texas, and grunt and rattle with it. Of course, everybody knows to use the estrus once the buck starts chasing the does, but look, never quit using the buck urine. Meaning you don't pour them together, you just trail a buck and a doe, and you got a buck trailing a dot. Start with buck, and then add the estrus. And then, of course, during the peak, and if it's legal, use those decoys and get your camera out, because you'll have a ball watching that happen. Okay, let's see. We're going to have us another Facebook, guys. I'm just going to keep cranking out some Facebooks here. Leon from Rising Sun, Maryland. These names tonight are crazy. Rising Sun, Maryland. I just come through Maryland a couple weeks ago there. My physical body language. What physical body language or specific movements does a doe use when she's in estrus? The first thing a doe will do, let's see, guys, we got a caller on. You want me to come back to this one? Let me come back to Leon right here. All righty, guys, we're cranking it out. All righty, got Don Bell. Who we talking to? Nope, ain't gonna happen tonight. All righty, we'll keep. Hey, yeah, can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you.
All right.
Who's this?
You got Don Bell. Who we talking to?
Sean Ratcliffe again.
All right. Well, look, man, we apologize, Sean, for the we're having little technical problems tonight.
What he said. All right, I'll go ahead and shoot right off here with my question. The tarsal gland on the back of their legs, is there specific, like a different uses, and is there a specific,
Purpose for it.
What is it, and, how different uses for it?
The tarsal gland, a white-tailed deer, obviously in a buck, has several glands.
Yeah.
The most prolific and the one that they use for communication the most, and which is almost universal. It doesn't matter what biologist or university that you talk to understands and agrees that the tarsal is the most prolific of the glands that's used. And what happens is, it's called rub urination. And Sean, you're exactly right. It's located on the back inside knee of the deer. Now, a doe has a tarsal gland too. Now,
yes, sir.
If you can, I don't know if you can see the screen, Sean, but if you can't, when you look at the show later, you'll see what I'm talking about. For those that don't know, it's like a little tuft of hair, like my hand here, that's on the back. It kind of sticks out a little bit, doesn't lay down as much, and so it's more pronounced. And the hair follicles are like hollow, and that gland will secrete a musk.
Yes, it does. It stinks too.
It does, and it's stinking for a reason. And it stinks during the fall more than it does the spring and summer.
Yes, sir.
And that's the reason they call it rub urination. Now, rub urination is when a whitetail will urinate over the back legs or the knees, but what they'll do is they'll put their back hind legs together, the knees together, and they will urinate over the back inside knees of the deer. Aren't you glad men don't do that? Most anyway. So he puts his legs together and he rubs the hocks. A lot of guys calls them hocks, but tarsal glands. And as he rubs those two together, it's the reason they call it rub urination. The urine, when his neck is swollen, mixes with the musk secreted from the follicles on the hair, and it creates a rutting odor. And that's what you're smelling. Now, the way a buck marks a primary scrape, he does exactly, Sean, what I just said, except he goes one further step. And you may have seen him do this. He'll come to a primary scrape, or what I call a master bedroom, and he'll rub urinate. You'll see him urinate over it, and you'll see him back legs, and it's almost like he's just doing a little dance like a cricket there. And then urine goes into the scrape. The urine, when his neck's swollen, mixes with the musk from the tarsal onto the scrape. And then, have you ever seen one paw the ground with his foot?
Yeah. Yes.
Bucks have
paw marks all over my property right now.
That's right. Well, deer have what's called an interdigital gland, and it's between the hoof of the front. And so the complete rutting odor of a white-tailed deer is a combination of those three things. When his neck's swollen, it is the rub urination with the interdigital in that scrape. And so what happens is Tom puts his personal rutting odor in that master bedroom.
Yeah.
So he just didn't mark it. He put his personal rutting odor. So he has marked.
Boss of his on again, don't he?
Yes, he does. He's marked it. Now, what's unique about what I just said is that most people rarely thinks about this. But did you know that a doe rub urinates 365 days a year?
Wow.
See, most people think it's a rub urination. They're thinking buck. Fall.
Yeah.
Research shows that when a mature doe gets up out of her bed where she's bedded, within the first 30 minutes before she leaves that bedding area, she's going to rub urinate. And what she's doing is she's putting her personal identification on for the day. I call it of course, you're from Ohio, so I call it a Southern woman phenomenon. You take a Southern lady, and if she's going to go to Walmart, she's going to doll up to go to Walmart.
Yes, doll up.
She's going to doll up. She's going to put her makeup on. She's going to go to Walmart. Now, what she's doing is she's putting on her identity. And a doe, a mature doe, before she leaves that bedding area, she's going to put her personal identification on. All right, now she's walking. That's happening today. Heck, it's happening out there right now on your property.
Probably.
And so when that doe comes in contact with another doe, say another mature doe, or her age or status, she may, in that other doe's presence, rub urinate again to show status. So rub urination in does is 365 days a year to show status.
Yeah.
A whitetail buck does the same thing, except it's primarily in the fall. And it's during when he is in rut, once he sheds velvet. And it's during the time that neck swells and really leading up to marking that primary scrape underneath that overhanging limb. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir, it does. I thought forever of a question I could, ask you, that I couldn't really look up, wanted further input on it, because the first time I ever cut up a deer, skinned a deer, I hit that tarsal gland, and it was nuts. I mean, it stunk so bad that it ruined my meat, basically, almost.
Yeah, it's almost like when you cut, dressing a deer, you don't want to get in that urine sac. Because that's a no-no. You won't do that but once, and you'll learn not to do it.
The first time I ever did it, I did it by myself. I thought that I knew everything, and that's how I found it. That's how
trial and error.
That's how I run into it.
Well, let me tell you, I grew up in South Alabama. My father was a coon hunter, and when I say my father coon hunted, our dog yard was an acre long.
Yeah.
So he was a serious coon hunter, and of course we coon hunted and grew up coon hunting, but we also deer hunted. And he'd tear our butt. And when I say he'd tear your butt up, he'd tear your butt. He'd light you up like a Roman candle, because we'd kill a deer and we'd take them tarsal glands off the back of that deer and train them his coon dogs playing around with that, teaching them a trail of whitetail. Lord have mercy, I've got my butt tore up more than one time as a kid doing that. And finally we bred a cur to a bird dog, a cur now, just a half-breed cur, to a bird dog, to use the bird dog's nose in his dogginess to go into the briars. And the cur is a short running. He could jump a deer and run in the clear cut, and that cur would only run out there so far, and he'd turn around and come back. You jump it.
Maybe get a beagle.
You jump it with a damn hound, and that sucker's gonna go to Canada. You either gonna shoot the deer or shoot the hound.
Yeah.
Now, tell the truth. Now, you said beagle. How much of your life have you spent waiting on them damn dogs to come back to that trailer?
Oh my goodness. I can't even tell you, because once she gets going, you might as well just either follow the bark or just stay put, unless you got a collar on her.
That's right, and or throw a shirt or something, a jacket leave the dog box open, and just leave a shirt or something there to where they'll come back. Now, when you come back, guys hunts with dogs, dog come back and get in there. I lost a dog one time, Bama. She was a black and tan. Ears stayed raw because they were so long in her food. And honest to God, I couldn't hunt. I hunted the dog for the first year, and after that, her life, and I had her for years. Never turned her loose. I always took her, but you could not turn that black and tan loose, because if she jumped a deer, you either killed the deer or you killed her. She'd line that sucker straight out. You know how a beagle will run them in circles? That black and tan would line his butt out. We jumped one time, you have to do the Google on this. We jumped one in Baldwin County, Alabama, and I got my dang dog about 3 weeks later in Fort Deposit, Alabama. But that ain't no lie. Now
Can't County to county, huh?
Oh, it's crazy. And I'm not lying on that now. But to prove the point, I said all that to say is that we use tarsals, to what you're saying, to train the dogs. Now, a lot of people call them hocks, you know, but it is a very, very important gland, and more hunters are understanding that. And a lot of people want to know, well, gee, why can't I just cut them off and put them in the freezer? Well, two reasons for that. If you cut them off this morning, you can use it this afternoon.
Yeah.
But if you cut it off today and try to use it the next week, look, think about you shoot a deer, shoot a rabbit, shoot a dog, shoot a cat.
Yeah.
Immediately upon death, that body, that tissue starts breaking down.
Yeah, that's why I say gut a deer immediately.
So
Cool.
So a lot of people will take glands or urine or glands and they'll put it in the freezer. Well, once you thaw it out, it's still starting that same process. So, but they've got the right concept in doing that, and so the tarsal. Long answer to a short question is that it's something you need to understand. You're asking a good question, and it'll make a better hunter out of you hunting anywhere, anytime, early season, pre-peak, or post-rut. For that matter, right now, today, you can take a tarsal gland and go out and a buck will come to it. They're just not mad coming to it today.
Yeah.
I mean, you meet me at Walmart and start talking to me, you're not mad. You come home and walk in your master bedroom and I happen to be sitting in there. Now, you might be a little irritated about that.
Yeah.
It's not what you do, but when and where you do it makes the difference.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, use the tarsal glands, keep doing it. Hey, and you can grunt with it, it's territorial.
All right, I appreciate the insight, Don.
Hey, man, Sean, we appreciate it. And listen, we apologize for the difficulties
That's all
tonight.
right. I'll be next as soon as I get my internet up and running again. I'll be watching the show or whatever and go back and looking at a couple more other shows. I seen a couple of things on the website today I want to look at. So.
Mighty fine. Well, listen, tell your friends about it. Of course, 52 weeks a year we're here, but doggone it, 2 to 3 months, dog, we're going to be planting food plots again. It's going to be time to. So,
all right, thanks, son.
You bet. Thank you. Thanks, Sean. All right, bye-bye. All right, Sean, we appreciate it. Hey, look, we'll take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
From Don Bell, the founder of Code Blue, comes top reserve doe estrus, the finest doe estrus ever collected. Top secret oxygen-free collection process is a complete generation above Code Blue. Our patent-pending collection process means no ammonia and no ammonia smell. At a limited quantity of 12,000 bottles, only 0.1% of hunters will be lucky enough to add Top Secret to their arsenal. Visit TopSecretDeerScent.com today and join the 1/10% Club.
Folks, look at the logo up there. It's the 1/10%. By the way, Top Secret is a proud sponsor of the 1/10% Club. It's a proud sponsor of the Hunting the Rut Hotline. And guys, listen, it's open enrollment. And this is the time of the year that you secure your big bottle of estrus or buck urine. It's 12,000 bottles, first come, first serve. And I tell people every week, guys, everywhere we go, they say, you got any more of that estrus? You got any more of that reserve? It is not something that you can just call and say, I want some. You can call and say that, but it's like, if you want to watch Alabama playing the national championship, the time to have thought about that is when you bought season tickets at the beginning of the year to be able to sit on the 50-yard line and watch that championship game. Same thing here. There's only 12,000 bottles for 12 to 14 million deer hunters. You ever thought about that logo? That means 1/10 of 1% is even going to get a bottle. You got a chance tonight. It's open enrollment. That means the bottles are up. All the club members, you automatically keep yours. All you got to do is renew, automatic. You can say, I want it shipped this fall. 2 ways to buy it. You can go online tonight right below us there. And guys, by the way, we got a new format on the show that you're probably looking at. Tom, did that start tonight on the new format? And best way for them to get to the button now is just to scroll down further. You scroll down a little further. Ustream has kind of changed the format. It's not us, it's them. So you scroll down a little further and you hit that button. It'll take you to the 1/10 of 1% club. There it is. And you can choose. Tonight, April the 21st, you could say, hey, Don, I want my big bottle of estrus or buck. And folks, if it's available, you can get both. Is that you say, I want to buy it tonight, and I want you to ship it to me October the 15th, say Sean up in Ohio. Or, why would you not do this? I mean, we'd love to take your money tonight, but you also can do over 4-pay. That means you can hit that website tonight and say, you know what? Mama ain't watching me, and I'm going to take that plastic and I'm going to buy my big bottle of reserve, and over 4 payments, it'll pay for it 4 months in a row, $25 a month, and you can say, ship it to me this fall. Great way to do it. It ties up your season ticket to be able to get your big bottle of estrus. You're good to go. Folks, it's the finest scent that's ever hit the industry. It's like a lottery. First come, first serve. Take it serious. When it's gone, and open enrollment will close. So club members, renew, new guys, here's your chance to get it. Alrighty, what we're going to try to do here is to try to answer some questions here. We got a Facebook question from Jim Anderson from Grantsburg, Illinois. What is the best use during the peak of the rut if you know a few monsters frequent your woods? Buck urine or doe and heat? What Jim is asking is kind of what I said earlier, is that which is it better? Well, it's a relevant question, and guys, okay, there it is. In the peak of the rut, I just wanted to make sure if he said rut or the peak. If it's during the absolute peak of the rut, I mean, bucks chasing those does. Peak meaning when the majority of the does are standing. Keep in mind, Jim, the word estrus literally means an animal will stand and not run. When you see, Jim, them bucks chasing them does, that doe is not in estrus. There's a distinction between coming into estrus and being in estrus. The word estrus means she'll stand and not run. The reason she's running is that she's coming in and she don't want to be fooled with. Okay, so, but once she gets in full estrus, she won't run anymore. She'll stand to be bred. Now, the peak of the rut, think about that. The peak of the rut, Jim, on your piece of property is when the majority of the does are standing and not running. Now, having said that, clarified what the peak is, let's talk about which scent do you use, buck or estrus? And the answer to that is both. You can use one or the other and be effective, but if you want to be maximum, then is you want to use the buck and the estrus together. And when I say that to people, I always clarify, I don't mean pour them together. I mean use them simultaneously coming in. Trail the buck behind the doe coming in, you got a buck chasing a doe. If you put it in a primary scrape over an overhanging limb, or what I call a master bedroom, put both the buck and the estrus in there. All of you, most hunters that hunt today uses a grunt call. They'll use a grunt call, and certainly during when a buck's chasing a doe. Because when you grunt and a buck's chasing a doe out there, what you're telling him is another buck is tending a doe. Whose doe? His doe. Grunting, rattling is an infringement. So the buck's going to go downwind. Ears, eyes, nose, most important being what? His nose. So he's going to go downwind. The reason he does it, Jim, is to be able to smell and confirm what he's hearing. If you only have estrus out at a scrape and you grunt and that buck goes downwind, that's like you coming home tonight after this show, smell an Old Spice cologne, flip the light on in your bedroom, and you just see your wife. You smell Old Spice cologne in your bedroom, you flip the light on, you're not looking for your wife, are you? You're looking for the buck. So if you're grunting, you definitely need to be using buck urine with it. So to complete that master bedroom, you want buck and estrus, trail them both in. You want to kill bucks, and if you want to kill a better caliber buck, then you want to go on the infringement concept. Now, when you do that, you may run the little boy off, the little younger bucks off, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. What you're doing is, if you see a buck ran off, a little buck, let's say you're using buck urine at a primary scrape, and I see Chris coming. I see Chris come in, and old Tom has marked that scrape. Now we're talking father-son in there. So old Tom's marked. That don't even sound right. That's wrong. All right, Chris and somebody else then. But anyway, so what happens is, when Chris comes in, and he's nervous, and he kind of half prances off, tucks that tail up, or better yet, tucks that tail down and kind of skirts off. You say, Lord have mercy, and I've had this happen to me 30 years in the city industry. People say, I had Joe buck urine spook off a buck. And I said, man, that's great. And they go, great. If you got to, and my next question is always, what is the posture of the buck leaving? And unless he blows whoo, and just starts bouncing off, that's bad. But if he turns and kind of pitches or tucks the tail down and just kind of slips out, but even quickly, that means he's got a better buck in there and he don't want his butt kicked. That's what that means. So when he smells it, it's, again, I can smell Old Spice cologne at Walmart tomorrow. I'm not mad, but let me come home tonight and smell it. I'm mad. So that little buck smells buck urine, and it's where he smells it alarms him. That's a good thing. But you say, I want to kill that little buck. Well, don't hunt over that primary scrape, because that primary scrape is by a bigger buck. And sometimes you will weed out a subordinate buck simply because where it's located. But if you want to kill a younger buck, hunt off of the primary scrape and get those coming to it beforehand. All right. Seemed like a long answer to a question, but you got to answer the question. Okay, we got us a BioShield question here from the website. Scott Elder wants to know from Wisconsin. Wonder if you have any vendors in Madison, Wisconsin area. We do. We have A1 Archery in Houston, Wisconsin. We have Ace from Sauk Perry, Wisconsin. That's Wilderness Fish and Game there in Sauk City. And All Season Sports and Archery. And is that Neilsville? We have J&A Archery over in Princeton, Wisconsin. Little John's Archery, great shop there in Marshall, Wisconsin. And of course, Pet Supply Outlet there in, is that Sheboygan? Wisconsin. Boy, you'll be so proud of me I pronounced that. I probably butchered it. But to answer your question is yes. And guys, look, a lot of times you'll see in the absence of Steve tonight, we just don't show up. We're doing stuff. You know, there's a reason why you asked that question, that we throw those answers up there, because we are expanding and growing. People ask us, who you telling? We're telling everybody. And so we're trying to also put our product everywhere where you can get to it. And BioShield, like Top Secret Deer Scent, is a game changer. BioShield is 100% natural repellent. What's neat about this bad boy right there, it's a 95% repellency rate, DEET free. You can put it on a baby. 8 hours of protection. It's a simple process. And boy, if you, hey, Tom, can you throw that up there on the Sika? Throw that up here on the Sika while we've got this here, and let me show this to the guys. This is amazing. You see the map in front of you? The red, and you can see, and maybe you can see it a little better than I can, but you see all the areas. That's in the U.S. alone. Where the Zika virus, right now, Congress is looking at, well, Obama administration is asking for $1.9 billion to try to get ahead of the Zika virus in the U.S. in research. Right now, worldwide, they're estimating, what is it, 2 billion people that are exposed to the Zika virus worldwide. And if you look at that map there, you say, oh, that's somewhere else. Well, look at South America. Just back at Christmas, they were talking about it. And right now, it is a worldwide concern, great concern. And look at the southern coast of the South of America. The state of Florida, where we are, has already 2-3 months ago declared the state of Florida as a national, as a what am I trying to say? As an area of great concern for the Zika virus. And notice that all along the Gulf Coast there. So this is only going to grow. This is April. Folks, when it starts getting in summer, it's going to be bad. And if you're watching the news, and we're trying to address this today in the first of the week, Monday, for the people in the Houston area, guess what's happening in Houston? It's a flood. Guess what loves water? Mosquitoes. Guess what mosquitoes carry? Hello? You want to protect your family. BioShield is 100% natural, DEET-free, 95% repellency, lasts 8 hours. Folks, don't put DEET on you. Read the site. They tell you don't put it on you. So we not only have it in a spray, but folks, we're the only ones in the world with a body wash and shampoo. Think about that. You take a bath, why not have protection? All those people out there in Houston that's running around in that stuff, they're taking a bath, why not have protection? We're the only ones in the world that not only has it in a body wash and shampoo, look here, we have it in a laundry detergent. Think about it. It's as almost somebody thought that out. Look, you got all three. You take a bath, you wash your clothes, and you got the topical spray once you get out there. Folks, it used to be insects was just an aggravation. No more. It's serious times with the Zika virus, and here is a peace of mind. In fact, we also have it, folks, just as luck would have it, look at this. We have a combo pack where we call it triple protection combo. You can get this online or one of your retailers. It has the spray, it has the body wash and shampoo, and it also has the laundry detergent in it. One shot. Mama, you want to protect the family? There it is. Guys, BioShield. The way it works, all insects produces a compound called octopamine. Steve would be proud of me on that. I probably still butchered it. It's a compound that only insects produce. It's called octopamine. And it's like a transmitter. And it's sort of like what I call a spark plug firing in a car. It's firing like this. In order to have fire in the car, the spark plug's got to work. So it's firing. What our product does, 100% natural on a baby. By the way, you wash your dogs and pets in this. Works just as good on them. It's firing. Once they come in contact with our product, 100% natural, it blocks that being piston to fire, shuts them down almost instantaneously. It's crazy. Try this. You get it. Just go around and find you some insects and spray it on them. Once you do it, it's almost it's just fun to do. It's just fun to do because you can spray it on all these bugs and watch them. They'll just fall over. 100% natural, 8 hours worth of protection, 95% repellency rate. Okay, let's see here. Another Facebook question. Watch how I handle this. That's from Hollywood, Florida. How do you pronounce that name?
Giuseppe.
Huh?
Giuseppe.
Say it again?
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe? Mm-hmm. Giuseppe, you saying like you know, Chris. All right, Giuseppe from Hollywood, Florida. When looking for a new piece of hunting land, what are the signs that the property is good deer hunting property? Well, I know that's a simple question, and I'm not being cute when I say this. If it's got deer on it. Now, how do you know if it's got deer on it? Well, first of all, is the property already leased? If it's a piece of property that's already leased, then obviously they're leasing it for a reason. Especially if you want to know, if somebody had it last year and they turned it loose this year, chances are it's not very good. But if you find a piece of property and you try to lease it and somebody's already got it and they've had it for 10 years, that's saying something. It's saying several things. But you need hardwood, you need some, you got to have water. It's just basic stuff. On the piece of property, depends on where the piece of property is, and he's in Hollywood, Florida. Is it Hollywood on the west side of the pan going down?
I think so.
Yeah. So still a lot of good hunting over there and around Hollywood. as you come up into the Panhandle, you come up into what is the county there? Wakulla County, south of almost due south of Tallahassee. In fact, Wakulla County, south of Tallahassee is the last frontier, real frontier in the state of Florida. About 90-95% of that county is national forest. Black bear, hog, dude, you name it, it's there. And plenty of cottonmouths and rattlesnakes. Some huge rattlesnakes down there, especially along the coast there in Apalachicola. Rattlesnake loves that sandy soil. So your hunting land, obviously check around, find out, make sure that it's got protection around it. I mean, there's so many things that comes into a good piece of deer hunting property, not just that it has deer on it then, but can it sustain them? Is it protected? Is it have pressure outside of it? Is it public land outside of it? Is it farmland around you? You know, there's just, what's the pressure around you? Pushing them in, taking them out. Is the landowner next to you a big hunter? Is he planting stuff over there? Get you an aerial view. And guys, listen to this. I know it sounds crazy. And I only started doing this recently because Thomas in there said do it. You can go to Google Map, where we used to have to, when I was a young person, we'd have to go and try to get all these maps and look at it and topography and say, dude, get on the internet, look at the piece of property and zoom over it and look at the property. Back up and see how many food plots is around that piece of property. Are they farmland? How close is the house to the property near the hardwood bottom that you're wanting to do? What's the pressure? You can Google it. Absolutely crazy what you can do today. Knowledge is key on any piece of property. Ears, eyes, nose, all the scent in the world, all the calls, all the guns, all of the ammo is worthless to you if you do not understand you're ahead of the food chain, and you got to understand what that whitetail, what makes him up. And when you do this, he does that. It's like playing chess. You got to know if pressure is here, it does this. This time of year, he's here, you do this. All the difference in the world. Good question. It seems like these answers are long, but folks, there's just not a quick fix to it. There's experience coming to it. We're just wanting to shoot him. He's trying to live. Big difference. We're thinking about doing that on the weekend. He's staying alive 365 days a year. Think about it. All right, let's see. We got time for one more quick question. Big Don McRae, hadn't heard from Don in a while, in Minnesota City, Minnesota. What's the new 2016 top secret deer sense? We honestly love BioShield. P.S. We honestly love BioShield. I want to tell you, Don, BioShield is making a splash. It's the perfect storm for us. You know, this Zika virus is a bad thing, but you know, we got an answer for it. What I'm trying to tell people is, look, your house is on fire. We got water. Call us. We got a fix to that. 100% natural, 8 hours, 95% repellency, DEET free. Put it on your child, put it on yourself, wash your hair, wash your clothes. So Big Don, we hear you, baby. We hear what you're talking. And what's new for 16 is a couple things. One is we have the 1 ounce sprays, oxygen free. That retails for about $7 and $7.95 a 1 ounce spray, and oxygen free. Or you have it instilled in your traditional 3 ounce, or of course you have it in your foam. So it just depends on where you are and what you're needing. Now the spray is great, Don, if you're up in that tree and you grunt or you rattle or that buck's going downwind and you kind of get a glimpse of him and you see him going downwind and he's kind of hung up, you can mist it in the air and give him a good, quick, fresh dose to get him to get a little bit closer in. So especially, it's just ease of application, and with this you don't need the scent saver pump to pump it out. 1 ounce, 3 ounces, 8 ounces. Big difference. All right, guys, it is, I believe it or not, it's an hour into this thing. Every Thursday night it goes along quick. We do apologize for the phone. We'll try to fix that up next week, but we did manage to get one big old guy in there. And we'll see you next Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Hey, look, check Facebook out. You'll be able to ask your questions, make plans to call. I know you're doing other stuff. It is Hunting the Rut Hotline, and we're live, and we'll see you next Thursday night at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. See you next week.